Welcome back to Coffee Break with the Chamber Chicks. I'm Kayla, and today we are tackling a topic that a lot of small business owners think doesn't apply to them: cybersecurity. But the truth is, small businesses are now being targeted more than ever before with things like email scams, ransomware, data breaches, and so much more. Our guest today is Steven Reiser, owner and CEO of Atomspeed. He's got a deep knowledge of tech and a real talent for making it simple for people like us who don't really understand. So grab your favorite cup of coffee and let's get started.
So thanks, Steven, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I will say, for this podcast, this is probably the first one where I knew the least about what we're about to talk about.
We have literally no idea.
Honestly.
So if it sounds like we don't know what we're talking about, we don't. Steven does, though.
Steven does. So the idea from this podcast came because Steven, we were just chatting with Steven, and when we realized there was a lot of stuff about cybersecurity we did not know, and we did not know things that can get us into a lot of trouble.
There's a ton.
So if we didn't know it, and we spend all of our day thinking about how to help your business, and if we didn't think about it, we're pretty sure y'all didn't think about it. So, Steven, man.
Yes.
It's crazy what you were telling us. So,
yep, it is.
As we kind of focus on the tech side of things and the cybersecurity of everything, nobody wants to talk about this.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
That's not the part of your business you like to do.
This is the insurance side. Nobody,
Yes.
this is how to keep you out of trouble. But we hear about a lot of cyber breaches and attacks, especially. We've been doing these tariff updates, and as we talk about tariffs being imposed on certain countries that are prolific in cyber attacks.
Yes, and I will say that there's been an uptick in those countries trying to attack. We've had customers that have had more attacks done to them, but nobody's breached them. It's just you can see the amount of attacks increase.
Mm-hmm. And so as this continues on until some settlement is made with the tariff situation, we just want to make sure businesses are aware, that you're mindful of it. And it could have happened. I mean, it was happening before the tariffs. It's not.
And everyone thinks, it couldn't happen to me. That's like they're attacking a big company or, da-da-da. But
that used to be the thinking. Right? It used to be the thinking.
It will only be Target.
Yeah,
right. It will only be Nike.
Right. And that used to be the thinking, but that's changed because these hackers have found it a lot easier to attack smaller businesses, and they can extort money a lot easier out of smaller businesses, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I
mean, we're kind of like fish in a barrel, because one, we don't think about it being out there. While those big guys think about that, right?
Yeah, they spend tons and tons and tons of money. They've got the resources to fight it. A lot of it.
I don't really know many of our businesses that have a cybersecurity department in their business.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah,
maybe 2 or 3 of y'all, but not the most of us. Yeah. That just shocked me at how many ways a small business can absolutely.
AI is helping hackers as well, right? So it's redefining some of the ways that they can attack and coming up with new and better ways, which is, you've got AI for good, you've also got AI for bad, and that's part of the bad part of it.
And I think one thing I've heard, again, I know nothing about this, but I've heard to be careful what information you give ChatGPT and things, because people are just putting stuff in there, and ultimately that could be used
Absolutely.
to hack your business.
To
100%.
emulate your business later.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and that's happened, right?
Or you.
So AI can create kind of the same website as you, and they can get ranked higher than you on Google so that they kind of spoof your business, and that way people go to that business instead of yours, and that's what you don't want.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that crazy? So we talked about a lot of things, but let's talk about some real tactical things. Like, what are some specific things you see happening to small business, or what particular industries do you see it?
So it's actually across all industries. I see it a lot in legal, and really what the big thing is right now is email. right? So that's probably the biggest concern is people spoofing email, people opening up links. It used to be where, you get that FedEx or that UPS thing saying you've got a shipment out there. It's no longer that. The way that these hackers have gotten is that it looks real and legitimate, like a Microsoft document or a PDF document, and you don't know it until after you've clicked it, which is unfortunate. So you've got to be real careful with your email and look at, who it's coming from, and then look at the link and see if it's a valid link, because sometimes they use links that are shortened, but then it'll go to a malicious site. So you've got to be real careful with that.
Will you give the example that we had talked about a couple weeks ago about the law?
Yeah. So I've seen this a couple of times where some lawyers they will spoof the email, set up a domain that's very close to theirs, and they'll add one little letter in there, and then they'll send the other law firm an email with that one little letter change.
Difference.
And it will look exactly the same, and then they'll start correspondence, and then, a couple correspondence later, and they've got everything they need. So
and they're holding all your information hostage.
Yep. Not only that, but getting it back, and then there's the client portion of it. It's pretty bad. So email's probably the biggest right now, and then you've got ransomware that also goes along with that, and that's been a concern for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But it's coming in different ways now. So it's not just email now; they're also doing it on websites. They're also coming in through computers directly if they're not patched. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that's not
Even on your phone.
Yep, even on your phone. Yeah.
Text messages.
All of that, yes. Yeah, they're trying to get money any way they can.
I know y'all are going to hate this, but we're going to talk about it. It's coming in through social media. I know you're doom scrolling at 2 a.m., because I am too.
Yes.
Tell us about social media.
So social media is a big one that gets hit, and especially Facebook. These hackers will take over your account, and then you lose complete access. And your friends don't know that, so they'll
still interacting with you.
Still interact,
thinking it's you,
trying to get information, and as much information as they can get. That's what they're looking for. They're looking to sell and steal information. So as much information as they can get from you or your friends or people that you know is really their target. So the best way to keep them from doing that is having really long, complex passwords, nothing that, not your kids, not, pets. Yeah, there we go.
So not 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right. Not
password.
Not password. Stuff that's...
I just feel attacked.
Stuff that's complex,
This is now become an unsafe space. I need a puppy.
So,
When Steven first came into our lives, he was working on something, and he was like, "What's your password?" And I was like, said password. And he was typing, he looked up at me, and he was like, "You're joking." And I was like,
we're changing that. Yeah, we're changing
no.
that.
And he was like, "Okay, no more. We're changing those."
Yeah. So,
so judgy, Steven.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep you safe. But yeah.
Just remember that. We're just trying to get
you. So using, complex passwords with special characters and numbers, upper and lower case, at least 8. Now the consensus is 12. 12 letters long or digits long. Yep, it's getting longer. And then also use multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
So if there's any way where you can have it send you a text or use an authenticator app, that will protect you even more. If you're not doing that now on any of your banking or credit card information, do that immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes. We had a situation with the business.
Oh, well, yeah, you helped with that one, too.
So,
well, let's just do that one. Without naming this business's name, tell us what happened to our friends and their banking.
Or their payroll.
But, to protect the innocent and the guilty.
So what happened was somebody was able to guess the password, right? Guess their password because it wasn't as complex as it needed to be. So what they did was logged in and started changing all of the account information. and withdrawing money, trying to withdraw money through their payroll. And it almost happened. Thankfully, it was caught. And thankfully, they were able to get everything solved.
Stephen to the rescue.
Yes.
Right?
So
Not all heroes wear capes.
That's right.
but yeah,
Sometimes
so
they wear boots.
yeah, right. So,
Yeah. If you can't see in the videos,
yeah.
Steven has a little boot
So,
on.
it's
He has a little scooter.
so nice, so nice to walk on.
I
too.
think that's the point. It's not just your banking information, but it's any of your data. It's your client information.
Yeah, it's all of it now. It used to be just credit card and banking information. It's not that anymore. It is everything and everywhere, and it's prevalent across all platforms too. So
And because eventually, if you have enough data, eventually you'll find some banking stuff.
You'll
whether or
eventually.
not
Right.
that's your initial
right,
thing,
if you look at the breaches with like Visa and MasterCard, those happen a lot, right? So they've already got a lot of that stuff. They just need a couple more pieces to put together so that then they can go to your local bank or something like that to get the rest of it. So,
Take out a loan on your house.
right. So, if you're doing any wires or if somebody asks money, make sure to call them before it's done because you want to verify because I've seen that quite a few times as well.
So, obviously, email, social media. Are there any other threats that you're really seeing that are prevalent right now?
So, like I mentioned before, ransomware, right? So, one of the best ways to fight ransomware is through backups. I would say antivirus and things like that. But honestly, they're so good and it changes so much that antivirus and things like that have a hard time keeping up. So backups are your best solution. And backup frequently. A lot of businesses don't have backups, but a lot of businesses do, but they just don't do it as frequently. So I heard a statistic one time where 80% of businesses that lose their QuickBooks data go out of business within a year.
Oh, wow.
So if you're not backing up that, at least on a weekly basis, make that a priority. And you can back it up,
To do.
You can back it up with a hard
Add
drive.
that to your to-do list.
Remember when I
Yeah.
told you what we didn't know was
Yeah.
really, really scary?
Yeah. So, you can do an external hard drive. There's lots of different ways. And if you need help, we can help you. But there are ways to do it. So, cheap and expensive ways to do it as well. So,
Very good. So we talked about really long passwords, and then backups. That's always good. Any other tips that? Also call Steven. I'm just going to tell you that's what we
Appreciate
do.
I have
Yeah.
a problem. I'm like, hello, it's me.
Because you're expert on your business. We're experts on what we do. You are expert on your business,
Right.
and we rely on you to do that.
right. The focus of our business has changed a lot in the last probably 10 years, right? So it's changed from more hardware, software to more security based, right? So 90% of what we do now is security based. So all the software that we have is security based. So it's a big deal now.
Any tips on, I know we were just talking before we started the podcast, some businesses that have their Facebooks tied to their personal account is their
Yes.
admin for their business page. I know, like you said, passwords, anything else that you would recommend to them so that they don't lose that business account if they were to be.
Yeah, so you can make sure you have a separate login for both, right? So for your business page, make sure you have a separate login and make sure the password's complex and it uses multi-factor authentication like, text or the Authenticator app, something like that. And then on your personal page, the same way. And then you can link them both, but make sure you have that extra one so that in case something happens to
the
one,
other,
you still have
That's
access.
great. I think a lot of our businesses that are just, one person or a couple people, they might just have themselves
Yeah.
as the sole person, and then it's like if something happens,
Yep.
then you're done. So having, even if it's not another person within your business, to have another account,
Absolutely.
like make another email, make another Facebook, so to speak, to have that.
Yeah, and you don't have to post necessarily.
Right.
It's just one that you can get into
Access.
the account.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just access. Because Facebook will not help you at all.
Try to get somebody from Facebook on the phone.
Yeah,
Try.
I have tried, I have tried many times for a couple clients, and it did not happen. They do not care, and they'll
just tell you to make another one.
Yep, they will.
And then,
they don't even chat or nothing.
there's
You will not get help
they will
from
not.
Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. They won't.
You
do
will not
anything.
hear a voice. You will not get a return email, message.
No.
Listen, Beth and I have decided that we know what's wrong with Facebook and Meta.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Have you ever heard of Theo Vaughn?
Yes.
Okay, so Theo Vaughn has a podcast. We think Theo Vaughn is hilarious. He invited...
Little edgy, but hilarious.
Yes. Here's a dish. He invited Zuckerberg to be on his podcast. And I don't know if you've seen the video clip, but he says, man, you drink coffee or anything? And he just sits there. And he's like, not really. And he said, every now and then recreationally.
You drink coffee, man, or no?
Nah.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, you've had it.
I have. Sometimes on vacation, I'll drink it recreationally. It's like every once in a while.
Nope, that's what's wrong with Facebook. Right there. Your creator is only recreationally drinking coffee. And he
That'll do it.
calls it recreationally drinking coffee. No, immediately, that's what's wrong with Facebook.
I gotta have
If
caffeine.
they put some coffee in that place,
Yeah.
everything would be better.
Yeah, they would get twice as much work
That would
done.
get so much done.
They might be able to have people be like,
Yeah,
hey,
you might
we're
get a
not going to
response.
help you, actually.
Yeah, you might get a response.
That's it.
He might be able to pick out some different clothes.
That's right.
I mean, the man wears the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
And for people who absolutely love small boutique shops, that's just wrong.
That's just
an-
wrong.
a crime against fashion.
So that's what's wrong with Facebook. We have solved that problem. So just for all of you out there.
I think that'll work. Yeah, that'll do it.
Well, good. Well, we don't call.
Oh wait, but we need one more question.
Yeah, we
that
don't
I
call
thought
this.
of.
Oh, other than a wrap up.
Yes.
Okay. All
So
right.
any other practical tips besides
yes.
the things that we've talked about? Anything else that you think businesses should keep in mind or go ahead and be doing that we haven't talked about to keep themselves safe?
So one of the big things to keep people out of your computer, Mac, or whatever, is to have them always updated. It's free. I know it's a pain, and I know sometimes it breaks stuff, but it does patch those security holes. That is a huge one.
Great point.
That's a good one.
So doesn't take much.
And then when you're frustrated with that, call Steven.
Yes, because it'll break. Ultimately, it'll
You
break
just said
something.
that.
Yeah,
It'll
it'll break something.
Send
But,
it to
yeah.
Well, I will say we do rely heavily on you because we do a lot of stuff in a lot of places with a lot of things. Podcasts, social media, video, audio. Oh, we're doing all the things all the time. And
This
you're our
world's
go-to
digital
guy.
now.
Very
So.
digital.
And we don't know anything about that side of stuff. So
That's okay. That's what I do.
But, our podcast is called Coffee Break with the Chamber Chicks. So we got to know, what's your go-to coffee order? Don't Zuckerberg me.
So I'm not really a coffee guy.
Oh, my God.
look, he disagreed with me.
But
and then-
wait. No. Hang on. But I do like hot chocolate. So I'll take some hot chocolate. So, yeah, I usually drink energy drink or Coke, something like that. So,
So still caffeine, just
yes, lots of
coffee
caffeine.
is not our caffeine
Yeah.
of choice.
Gotcha.
My wife loves caffeine and coffee. I mean, she drinks coffee all day long. So we spend our...
She can
So
come hang out
because
with that.
Yeah,
you
right.
don't have a natural bent
Yeah,
to it, you
see,
married somebody.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
to patch in your life,
Yeah.
I got that. I
Yeah.
got you. I'm okay with
I
that.
mean, you just have to. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us for this episode of Coffee Break with the Chamber Chicks. If you have more cybersecurity questions, we'll put Steven's information in the show notes so that you can find that there.
Right.
But we will see you next time.
See ya,
love you, bye.